Just found out my mom, 52, is cheating on my dad, 54. Mom doesn't know that I know. 24-year marriage destroyed, my trust in her gone. I don't know how I should go about dealing with this, how I should tell my dad. So I had a feeling something had been upsetting my sister for a long, and I eventually pulled it out of her. My sister, however, did not inform me personally, but rather via my boyfriend. She supplied a snapshot of an email exchange my mother had with an unknown man. The screen photo was a wall of text, and I was simply in shock. I was so struck by the circumstance that I didn't read it all, but things were spoken like lingerie and my mother's dress size, which no one other than my father should know about. I've never heard my mother speak like that in an email, and she wasn't behaving normally, so the emails can't be dismissed as harmless or flirtation. Based on what I've seen of the email trail, it seems like more than just flirtation has occurred. A year or so ago, my sister saw anything on my mother's phone, such as some text messages. However, there was no means to back up the assertion. To cut a long tale short, we did inform my father, and I think it was agreed that the messages were blown out of proportion, implying that they were harmless flirting but nothing more. As my father said, she may have enjoyed the attention but did nothing to escalate the situation. Mom claimed at the time that it was nothing, and that the guy was simply being a jerk. If you will, she was largely innocent. Anyway, that was the end of the matter. I was still skeptical, but I kept an open mind since there was no way to prove anything. Until now, that is. I believe she has betrayed not just my father, but also my whole family. Worse, my mother is aware that my sister is aware, and she, Mom, attempted to play it off as though my sister was exaggerating. To top it all off, she took my sister's phone a fortnight ago, and reportedly she, Mom, enlisted the help of the mysterious man to manage the problem. He removed my sister's SIM card out because he assumed it would delete the email screenshot my sister had. Yes, I am aware that he is, among other things, an idiot. It irritates me to no extent that some random man went through and really touched my sister's phone, and b, my mother allowed him to do so. I feel terrible for my poor sister, who has known about this for weeks, and has only now got the confidence to speak out when two adults ganged up on her. She isn't even 16. She's so young, and I'm outraged that my mother placed her in this predicament. At the very least, my father is a little older and will, hopefully, be able to cope with it reasonably well. It pains my heart to think that my sister may have been terrified and alone in all of this for weeks. I, too, am in a bad mood. My grandmother and mother are like closest friends. They get together every day. My grandmother is my father's mother. This is going to shatter her heart. As you can see, my mother not only cheated on my father, but also on everyone else in the family. She abused our confidence. I don't have many friends, and the ones I do have are either sleeping or have work tomorrow, so I really need help and someone to speak to. How do I approach this? Because I am the eldest kid, this is my obligation. What should I say to my father? Should I obtain more information about the affair before revealing that I am aware of it? To get information from my dad should they divorce? My boyfriend made an excellent point. What if my father already knows and it's an agreed-upon arrangement? The entire, let's raise the kids till they're 18 then divorce nonsense. My father isn't always the greatest at expressing/dealing with emotion. So, what can I do to help him and my sister? Update. I'm rewriting this since Kat decided to delete everything. I went to bed for a few hours, returned, and was completely overwhelmed by the outpouring of love and support. I had no idea this would get so much attention when I shared it, and I am very appreciative for the diverse replies. I've made contact with my sister for the first time since she contacted my boyfriend. She's not quite ready to speak about it yet, but perhaps we'll be able to discuss it once she leaves school for the day. In terms of my father, I plan to inform him tonight, but it all depends on how things go with my sister, whether she has more proof, and I also need to examine the screenshot more properly since there may be more I missed. Course of action. I'm going to tread carefully, and after my father has sorted out his business/needs to do what he needs to do, I'll give my mother a piece of my mind. Also, for those who have inquired, I am 23 years old. Fortunately, I reside in the same area as my parents, so I can be there for my sister and father. Story 2. Genuine change to save relationship or enough is enough. I, 24 female, and my boyfriend, 24 male, have been together for slightly more than 2 years, FWB for a year before that. We're both fairly self-sufficient, but he values his alone time far more than I do. We hang out 1-2 times per week. I've grown acclimated to his boundaries of self-time and hobbies, but recently I've noticed that my needs, quality time, and desires, simple things like bike riding, drive-in theater, kayaking, gym together, haven't been addressed. If anything, they've been pushed out. I took a step back and scribbled down his actions during the previous 2 years. He loves his self-time more than our quality time, is hesitant to pursue activities that I like to do, doesn't plan or do anything special for myself/or us, still tells white lies, laughs wildly at juvenile things, doesn't think about our future, is impulsive with large purchases, and so on. But I've gone out of my way to plan dates, our future excursions, that mostly fail because he cancels last minute, discover hobbies we both like, pick up on hobbies only he enjoys, and so on, in order to spend as much time as possible with him. In the past, I've expressed my wish for him to put in more effort for our quality time. He'll debate back, then agree I'm correct the following day and do nothing about it. The cycle then begins again. However, in the past few weeks, I've become more confident and stern in asking for the same thing I've been asking for, and that serious talk devolved into him calling me crazy, overpowering, and asking for too much. He became very agitated, raised his voice the whole time, and said that he would not alter his priorities or methods since he is not an emotional man who would do such things for me. The next day, he stated I was correct and that he understands what's at risk and that he wants to repair it. He's been making plans for upcoming dates and activities, and he's really following through on them because he claims he wants a future with me. But how can I be sure it's genuine? How much time should I give him? I'm emotionally and mentally exhausted and tuned out, particularly after his immediate and harsh response to my most recent serious chat. I believe that more than 2 years is sufficient time to persuade someone to change, and I also feel like I shouldn't have had to beg him to change so many times. He should simply want to do those things naturally, right? When I look at the big picture, I don't believe he's a horrible man, or I'm a bad girl, or that one of us is asking for too much. Only that our personalities aren't meant to be together. I feel like I've been waiting for the next level, where he's finally beginning to understand the steps to even get to the next stage, but he hasn't begun. What are your thoughts? Update. I found out on our trip that we were going to attempt for us again to relight the flame. I shouldn't have snooped, but I did anyway. I glanced at his phone for the first time in 2.5 years, due to my trust and his being so nervous about it, and if I hadn't, he would have married me and carried this to his grave, guaranteed. I was completely taken by surprise, but in retrospect, I can see the red signs that were covered up by great amounts of faith and optimism I provided. I'm sorry. His excessively selfish need for ludicrous periods of alone time was really to chat to his other ladies. His commitment concerns with saving for a lifelong home with me were truly due to the fact that he was spending money on them for jewelry, clothing, shoes, vacations, and so on. He vocally and emotionally encouraged their interests more than I did. He even confessed his feelings for them. I suppose I know this was what I needed to confirm the emptiness of love that I believed was lacking in my life. I'm not sure why it had to be this way, but I'm glad it's over now rather than later. He is unaware that I'm aware. I intend to confront him and then leave him alone tomorrow. If I may suggest something, please remember that you should never settle for less than you deserve. You should not have to modify someone or instruct them on how to treat you. They will do so voluntarily if they love you. Edit, Confrontation Day. First and foremost, I wanted to express my gratitude for all of your encouragement, good words, and tales in response to my post. I was overcome with emotion, but more importantly, I felt validated in my feelings about the incident. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you. Many of you have asked for an update on the incident that happened yesterday. I can tell you that it was more difficult than I had anticipated. But now I'm free. Please accept my apologies in advance for the length. We went to the first location we ever met for dinner, public area, and I had a family member watch from the parking lot. Thank you for the safety advice. He was aware that we were going to discuss us and our relationship now that the month of him trying was over, but he was unaware of the cheating part. I began the chat carefully, reflecting on our trip and how it went. Then I went on to ask him if he ever felt like I didn't fulfill his expectations, if there were holes I didn't fill, if I could have offered more, and so on. No, you always tried for my interests, needs, and desires, he said, and I've always admired that. I then informed him that I felt there was a hole in my life that needed to be filled. I discussed how important I believed it would be for him to travel more with me, participate in activities I enjoyed, and spend quality time with me. However, I said that I knew the emptiness was pure and honest love. He called it into doubt. The confrontation began. I informed him that if he genuinely loved me and had fulfilled his needs/wants, he would not have messaged those females, gave them money, purchased them materialistic stuff, told them he loved them, and so on. He was taken aback, absolutely caught off guard, just as he had been to me for the previous year. He inquired as to how I knew this, as predicted. I had planned ahead of time based on your guidance. It didn't matter, I told him. He applied pressure. I was honest with him and informed him that I had gone through his phone on Sunday, but that he had no right to be upset about it right now. He went on to inform me, it's not my fault. She was the one who drew me in, and I felt obligated to support her. She was the one that stayed in touch with me. We never performed anything physical, therefore it doesn't matter or have any significance. I called him out on his nonsense. He then had a panic attack, and I lost control of my strength and bravery in the face of increasing conflict. I felt sorry for him. I'm not sure why. I guess the compassionate side of me was simply concerned about him. We gave it some space to settle down, until I understood he is still solely concerned with himself. He says a few things shortly after his panic episode, including, "Everyone is going to despise me. I'm going to lose every single one of my buddies. I can't live in this city any longer. People will believe I'm a nasty guy. I'm at a loss for what to do. I'm not sure why I did it when I had everything with you. I adore the attention I get from these females. I like the attention." I repeated this around 10 times. His subsequent behaviors were weird and perplexed me, but I believe I need to see it as a manipulation effort. He stated he was going to block/unfollow/delete me from everything, and he did it right in front of me. He told me many times that he had purchased a ring in order to propose to me shortly. He wondered whether we would have solved our problems if I hadn't discovered it, and he stated he would have informed me about the females before proposing to me next year or after we were married if he'd known I'd remain. He asked if we could still be friends and chat. He apologized simply, "I'm sorry." He didn't say anything particular about what he was sorry about. I didn't recognize that I deserved better, but he confessed he was a monster and had lost something significant. We agreed that he would inform his family and I would inform mine. I just explained that he must be honest so that people are aware, and he may learn from it if he so desires. I informed him I'm going on with no touch from him. I'm now free. It was difficult to do this face to face, but I believe it was necessary. It's now time to reflect on this experience and hope for greater things in the future, and maintain my strength up for the following step. Thank you everyone again for your encouragement and support. It means a lot.